Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point. I just wanted to hop on real quick and do a quick recap, and I am titling this Kaya was a no-show and T.S. Madison needs to rotate her guest spot once again. So before I get started, several of you commented on my last video about the artwork that's behind me. And those are actually paintings that I did myself at a place called Painting with a Twist. And here in St. Petersburg, our local Painting with a Twist location, actually I think they own like 2 or 3 in the Tampa Bay area. But basically what they do is like once or twice a month, they'll do a girls' night out. I think it's a part of their marketing strategy to get more people of color into the place and participate in the paintings. And so they always feature a African American themed painting. And not only do they do them for girls' night out, but they also have a couple of real nice ones for couples. So if you and your mate want to go and do a painting, then you can pick one. And basically it's 2 paintings that are joined together. And one that comes to mind is a man and a lady, and they're walking, like going out somewhere, dressed real fly, and the wind's blowing her hair, and they're holding hands. And so where it joins together is where they're holding hands. And you can find Painting with a Twist in your area at paintingwithatwist.com. And even if they don't offer a party in your area where they offer these paintings, if you schedule a private party, which you only need 12 people for a private party, and they have a catalog that has, like, I think the last time I looked at that catalog, there was over 5,000 paintings in it. So you're sure to find one of these or something similar to it. And if they don't offer that painting in your area, or they've never done the party, most locations, they will get one of their artists to learn how to do that painting so that they can present it for you. So that is the story behind the paintings behind me. And trust me, these aren't the only ones we got. Like my daughter even got hooked to it. And so now in the kitchen area, she has like 4 or 5 paintings lining the wall in there. So just wanted to let you guys know who was inquiring about the paintings. But let's move into what this little video is actually about. So last night we were supposed to have Kaya's gag order, as well as the Supreme Queen's Court, although I keep confusing those two. But both of them were supposed to be last night. Kaya's usually start at 8 o'clock, and then T.S. Madison's show starts at 10-ish. And so Kaya, you know, if you saw my last video, there was a court hearing yesterday. And I'm going to be honest with you, after I did that video, I was a little confused about who was actually suing who. But then I saw another video, which was a YouTube live video that Josh did. And Josh is the guy that hangs out with Michelle Brown. And so after watching his video, I was thinking, maybe they were suing each other, and the court asked if they wanted to join, if they could join the cases together and just hear both cases at the same time. So I think that's what happened. They were suing each other, and both cases were heard yesterday. That's what I'm going with today, and I might hear something else, and that might change. So I am not the expert. I wasn't in the courtroom with them, and I think I said that in the last video. So, you know, don't be coming at me about the information. But what we do know for sure is that there was a court date yesterday, and that all parties were present. So we were all anticipating Kaya's gag order going live again like it did last week at the Ivy. And we were hoping that, you know, it would be a little more organized and start on time and everything. And so when 8 o'clock rolled around, there was no Kaya. When 9 o'clock rolled around, there was no Kaya. At 10 o'clock, there was still no Kaya. And I was sitting there saying to myself, what in the world is going on? So finally, Michelle went live on Instagram, and she was dressed up, dressed nice. She was at the club. I thought they were waiting for the show to start. And Kaya was there. She was dressed up, like she was the week before. There were people in the club. And so we're thinking, okay, they're trying to work out some kinks here, and the show is going to get started eventually. So after that, I went over and started watching T.S. Madison's show. And so when that ended, I kept checking back, and so Kaya's show never did come on. And so I'm up, my writing juices don't begin until probably like 10, 11 o'clock. So I'm up to like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning on most nights. And so, I got the alert set. So then I get an alert from Michelle Brown. And I swear it was after 12 o'clock. And she came on to say that there was no show, that it was a walkthrough to make sure that all the technical kinks were worked out. And it was just like a, a walkthrough. And I was just like, first of all, if Kaya knew she wasn't going to do a live show, then she should have came on and let people who were waiting, because I mean, there were a lot of people waiting, and there's a YouTuber by the name of Kelly Love. He had set up, to do a live, and so that they could talk about it as it was going on. And, there were a lot of people in his comments that was just like, where's Kaya? What is going on? And so people were definitely waiting on the show to come on, and it never did. So I think Kaya owed it to her following to have gotten on live and said, hey, we're not going to do an actual show tonight. That is just going to be like a trial and a walkthrough for the people that are actually here, and I'm not going to go live with it. But she didn't do that. And then another thing that I pointed out, or that I noticed about Kaya, is that she doesn't promote her show. Sort of like with T.S. Madison, she'll, make little videos or Facebook posts. She'll go on Instagram and kind of like hype people up for the upcoming show. And I noticed that Kaya doesn't do that. And I mean, I see more Michelle Brown videos, with Kaya, or either talking about gag order, than Kaya is actually out there doing for herself. And so I think that hurts her, because eventually people, will start forgetting about it. And then if she pulls a stunt like she did last night, she is definitely going to lose followers. And there's a lot of people that's rooting for Kaya and that's in her corner. So she needs to look at all aspects of it. And I don't know if she has a team around her, but maybe she needs to get a couple of social media people if she doesn't want to be constantly coming on, and she can pre-record some videos, or just pick like a couple of times during the week where she comes on and do like a 2-minute video, telling people we are definitely going to be live. But I thought last night she really owed it to the people to come on at 8 o'clock and say, hey, we're not going live. And she did go live on her Facebook page, but it was really late when she went live. And by then, most people probably had gone to bed or moved on to something else. And what else did I want to say about Kaya's non-show? And then I was just kind of questioning Michelle, because like I said, Michelle was truly dressed like she was ready for the party last night. And so you could kind of read in her facial features that she was a little disappointed that it didn't turn out to be a live show, but she didn't want to, say anything negative or show that she was upset that, because they had talked about wherever the court hearing was, it was an hour-and-a-half drive for them, and that they had to be up at like 6:30 in the morning to get there on time for the court hearing. And then they were there, most of the morning and the afternoon. And then, they did the little live video where they all went out to lunch together, and so if you have your day planned out and there's things that you need to do, then, that can be very taxing on you. And then I also thought they had to know about the hearing before the hearing took place. So if Kaya wanted to do a walkthrough and she wanted to work out the kinks, then she should have scheduled a time when she could have did that last week or over the weekend, because I can only imagine, it actually put me in the mind of with the whole Monique thing, how she got there and she just said her energy was off and she wasn't feeling good about it. So I can imagine her kind of pretty much having that same feeling yesterday after having had this long extended day and dealing with, you know, going to court, and then going to court over something so stupid and petty and childish, you know, like that had to be very taxing. And then we don't know what the judge said. I mean, like what I'm hearing is that he basically chastised everybody and told them that they needed to grow up because they were acting like kids. And so I could just imagine that would have been making me feel bad and kind of pulled my spirit down. So it probably wasn't a good idea for her to go live, you know, after having such a long taxing day. But like I said, she was in the first video that Michelle did, which was earlier in the evening. Kaya was there. She had her makeup on. She had on a black outfit. There were people in the club. So why she eventually did not go live, we may never know. Now, let's move over to T.S. Madison and the, I need to get this title right, the Supreme Queen's Court. So she came on, and I think this was New York's second show. Yeah, I think this was the second time New York had been on there. I didn't watch the full show last week, or the first time, not last week, but the week before, the first time New York was on there. But one thing I can say about New York, it was two things that I noticed about her. Number one, her presence is way bigger than T.S. Madison. And I couldn't help but notice her body language. And it was almost like she was trying to outshine T.S. Madison and sort of push T.S. Madison to the background. So like they're sitting next to each other, but she kept doing this. And so it was like, T.S. Madison, I was like, she trying to bump T.S. Madison off the chair? What is going on? But it was like every time she talked, she would bring her body forward and kind of like go over. So like her shoulder was sort of like in front of T.S. Madison's shoulder. And then it was like almost like the light was following New York. And then it was kind of like dulling on T.S. Madison. And so there were a couple of times, you know, they were laughing and having a good time and everything, but there was a couple of times when you could tell that T.S. Madison was kind of getting annoyed. And it was the same way she used to do when Kaya would go too far with stuff. And then the other thing I noticed about New York is her voice was driving me crazy. It's just like a shrill squeak, and when she gets excited, and then I don't know what she was drinking or what was going on, but she kept doing this. And then she tried to get slick with it. Like she would do her hair like this, and then she would like brush her nose. So I don't know what was coming at the nose, if the nose was sweating, if it was the lights, because these lights are very hot. So I don't know if that's what was going on, but I was like, girl, get it together. And they, you know, they covered some stuff that was in the blogs, you know, that everybody's talking about. I know one of the things I hadn't heard about was Beyonce daddy saying that he thought, well, he used to date white women, and he thought that Miss Tina was white when he first met her. Now, that was the first time I had heard that. And then they also incorporated like some little social media stuff that's going on. You know how you get the images and they'll have like 6 people or 4 people, and they'll say if one has to go, who would it be? And so I think it was Gladys Knight, who they thought was Dottie Peoples for some reason, Miss Patti LaBelle, Shaka Khan, and Donna Summers, I think. And then, you know, they had a lively discussion. So I thought that was good that they were able to, you know, have that discussion about that for the amount of time that they did. And, you know, they were making some funny jokes. And then they covered a story where a couple, I think in North Carolina or one of them states, where the lady, the mother texted her ex-boyfriend, and the current boyfriend found out about it and killed her 5-month-old baby. And so they were, you know, talking about that, and how the mother, you know, she was in court and she was crying and saying that all she did was go to the store, and I guess he killed the baby while she went to the store. And then I thought it was funny how New York, you know, she had been joking and screaming and squeeching, but then when they got to that conversation, she was like, I feel sorry for the mother. And then TS was like, well, why do you feel sorry for the mother? And then New York just like got very serious, like this thing was personal to her. And then she said, well, maybe I'm missing the point. Like, explain it to me what's going on. And I don't think she changed her opinion, but somebody must have been giving her some cues, like, you need to agree with what T.S. Madison is saying. So then after they replayed the video, and then she, you know, got back into the squealing and the high pitching and saying that, oh yeah, you know, she was wrong and that poor baby, you know, so she was siding with T.S. Madison. So I don't know what that was about. And then one thing I noticed about the show, well, two things, because I gave 2 for Kaya, I'm going to give 2 for this one. Number one, the people in the comments are going in on New York the same way they used to go in on Kaya. And then you got your same group of people that are saying, well, if you don't like it, you know, leave, stop watching. You know, so that conversation has not stopped. It's just somebody different. And then the second thing that I noticed is that the first week when New York was on there, I think the views, and this is not the total views for how many people have watched the video, but just the constant number of people that are watching at a particular time. At I think the highest I saw it when I was watching that week was about 12,000 or 13,000 before I turned off. And this week, the highest I saw it get was like 6.2 thousand people at a given time, which both weeks is a significant drop from when Kaya was on there, because when Kaya and T.S. Madison was doing the Queen's Court, I have seen it get like into the 21, 22, 23,000 people. And remember, that's at a given time. That's not saying the total number of people who watched the video, because once the video ends, Facebook posts the total number of views, and then the total number of views is always going to be much higher than the number of people that were watching at a specific time. So the people, unless there was something going on in the world last night that stopped people from tuning in, the viewership is not filling New York. And I thought that the goal was to rotate the seat until she found the perfect person, or she was going to let people vote or something like that. I never did get the details, but I do think she may want to try and bring somebody else in, because, you know, New York has her moments, but to sustain through that whole hour or hour and a half that they're doing the show, I don't think people are really feeling her in that effect. And I think that was all I really had. Like I said, just wanted to, you know, drop in. I wasn't sure if I was going to recap the videos or not, but since Kaya stood us up, you know, just didn't show up on Force, I decided to go ahead and let you guys know Kaya wasn't there. Wasn't no show last night. And the fact, you know, just to give you my thoughts on the Supreme Queen's Court last night. And I think that's it. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that deep down inside wish that they could have just made up and continued, because I just think that chemistry is going to be hard to duplicate, and trying to find somebody to fill that void is going to be even harder. So that's just my thoughts. And then I also was thinking last night that, you know, I had just started watching the Queen's Court probably like in October or November, and I probably would have tired of it. I probably wouldn't even be watching it at this point, because I would have probably tired of it. So like the Love and Hip Hop, somebody was asking me, you know, why do you even watch that stuff? And I said, you know what, I watched Love and Hip Hop Atlanta and Love and Hip Hop New York for, you know, years. And, you know, I finally tired of that. I don't even watch any of them right now. I say, so it's no different. They just fill that void, because we all need laughter in our lives. We all need comedic relief. We all need some ratchetness to make us feel, you know, to escape the harsh day-to-day realities that's going on in the world. So, hey, it does what it does. So, guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you thought about Kaya not coming on and not letting people know that she wasn't coming on until later on in the night. And what did you think about New York, you know, as the replacement on the show? Do you think T.S. Madison should keep her, or do you think that she needs to continue looking and rotating that seat out until she finds somebody else? Let me know in the comments, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.